Well, tough criticism for Wall Street from the president before today's summit, calling them fat cat bankers. So will the meeting be about rhetoric or about results? Well, Kevin Hassett is the director of economic policy for the American Enterprise Institute and also is a Bloomberg columnist. Kevin, thanks so much for joining us.
It's great to be here, Betty. Thanks.
We were just talking to Professor Roy Smith, a former Goldman partner, who said that, in effect, a lot of this is just political theater. But is there going to be any substance, do you believe, coming out of this meeting?
Sure. I think that there are two substantive points that are going to be addressed. The first is that, these banks are basically rebuilding the balance sheet by borrowing money from the Fed at almost no interest and then buying treasuries, which pay some interest, and it's kind of free money. And they've been playing that game for a while. It's how they've been recapitalized. But while they've been doing that, they haven't been making loans to ordinary folks. And I think the president's going to lean on them to start to make cash available to private business. I think the second thing is the House just passed re-regulation of the financial sector that includes this big new agency, the CFPA. And I think that it's going to the Senate, where all of these guys that are meeting at the White House have a lot of influence. Senator Schumer,
right,
for example, is close friends with a lot of these guys. And I think that the president is going to lean on them to take it easy on the lobbying on this bill and to help it get through the Senate.
Right, but Kevin, just to your point about making more loans, because we just had Steve Bartlett on, who is a lobbyist for the financial services industry. I mean, his point is that, look, banks are making loans right now. They just don't want to take all the risks that they did before. So that's going to be the conundrum between the two sides. I mean, who is right in this?
Well, I think that they're both right a little bit, but the loans are kind of few and far between because there's free money right now. They can borrow again from the Fed for nothing and then buy some treasuries that are paying 1.5% or 2% more and just pocket the cash. If they're going to make a loan to a business, then they've got a lot of hard work to do. It's not free money, and they're choosing the free money. Now, traditionally, in a recovery, what happens is the Fed lifts the short-term interest rate, and then that game that comes off of the yield curve goes away. That hasn't happened, and indeed, the Fed is trying to make people confident about the future by holding short-term rates low for a long time. And I think what that's done is it's given banks the confidence that they can play this free money game for a long time and not really make loans. And I think that's one of the things that's slowing the recovery. And I think the president's right to talk to them about it because the Fed isn't going to lift the short-term rate anytime soon. And so there's got to be some other way to get things going.
Kevin, this is Peter Cook here at the White House. I want to ask you about the fat cat banker line, the talk about executive compensation. The president's sounding pretty populist in that interview with 60 Minutes. Is there anything these bankers can do to try and address that issue? Where is the common ground, if any? Do these bankers have to do more on the bonus issue?
Right. I think that they do have to do more, and I think businesses generally in the U.S. have to do more. There's a heck of a lot of cash that's been flowing out of American business into the pockets of executives instead of going out to shareholders and even to other workers. And I think that principal agent problem is something economists have talked about for a long time, and it's really gotten kind of out of hand. And so I think the president's right to lean on them for this, but I think it could go too far, in particular in places like Wall Street. If you've got a really smart trader, then they can go out and make a heck of a lot of money, and it's not clear exactly what fair compensation for them ought to be. And so on the one hand, we're concerned about the problem, but on the other hand, if they pass hard rules about compensation, then what will happen will be all the American trading talent will go overseas and go work for, say, Brevin Howard.
Where they can get taxed in London on their bonuses.
Right, there you go. I don't know if
True,
are there places to hide anymore. Okay, Kevin, thanks so much for joining us.